What is up, guys? Shinchi42 here, and today in this video we're going to be talking about the new and old civilizations. We're going to be briefly touching the starting commander and the special units, and we're also going to be really diving down into the buff of these new civilizations. Do let me know if you guys are doing a civ change or what civilization you are going to be choosing. If you guys stay until the end of the video, I will let you guys know what are the top 3 best civilizations. We are a Rise of Civilizations official partner and sponsored by them. So do subscribe to this channel and turn the notification on because we are creating a lot of regular contents and you don't want to miss out. The first civilization that we're going to be talking about is Byzantium. The starting commander here is Belisarius. The special unit is Cataphract. The buff here, as you guys can see, it is going to increase the hospital capacity by 15%. That's something that I really want to highlight. This is similar to Korea, and really increasing the hospital capacity by 50% is going to be beneficial for you, especially in the later stages of the game, because you're going to start having a lot of troops in the later stages of the game and you don't want them to die. What happens is if you fill your hospital capacity, the units that doesn't get in the hospital will just instantly die, and you don't want that. Training higher tier units are going to be very expensive and a lot of time. You don't want to waste your resources and time. Now, stone gathering speed by 10%. 10% is a good amount of buff, but I do want to let you guys know that this can be negated by just grinding and farming and using some speed ups in the game, and you can also get some runes. So this may be something that is a very optional buff that you guys can decide on, and I'm not really going to weigh in on much. I don't really find the full benefit for that stone gathering speed. Increased cavalry health by 5%. This could be really beneficial if you are building a full cavalry units. Now, a lot of the pay-to-win players really focuses on cavalry in the beginning stages of the game, so maybe this civilization be the best civilization for the pay-to-win players. Now, the next civilization that we're going to be talking about is the Ottoman. Now, the starting commander here is Osman 1, and the special unit is Hanissary or Janissary. Now, you guys can correct me on the comment section below because I probably am butchering the name of that special unit. I do apologize in advance for you guys, to you guys. The buff here is going to be very unique. Active skill damage by 5%. You won't see this buff among the other civilizations. Now, the troop marching speed by 5% is really good as well. It is going to be really beneficial because in this game, that troop marching speed is something that is really crucial, and coming into Alliance Battlegrounds, this is going to be a benefit. Increase the archer health by 5%. This is something that if you are really building into full archer units may be a benefit for you. Now, I would leave that to your own playing style if it's really going to be a full archer units. A lot of the players aren't really building a full archer units. Majority is going to be building cavalry and infantry units, but you can be the difference. Also, want to let you guys know that the active skill damage by 5% is really good, because first, this is a really unique buff, and also this is going to be increasing the skill damages for your nuker. So if you've already heavily focused on the nuker commanders or the skill commanders, this is probably a good civilization for you to switch on, and it's really going to be boosting your capability or your efficiency in the battlefield. The next civilization is Arabia. Starting commander Baibars, special unit Mamluk. Now, do correct me if I say these incorrectly because I want to learn how to pronounce them correctly. I do apologize again in advance. Do leave that in the comment section on how to actually pronounce them correctly. Okay, so the buff here, it's really good. The damage dealt by rallied armies by 5%. This is another unique buff that they have implemented. So this is really good. This buff, the damage dealt by rallied army, is really good if you are the rally person. If you really are the one that is going to be attacking governor cities, attacking barbarian forts, or just doing any rally, towards the alliance buildings, this might be a good civilizations for your top player in your alliance that is going to be your leader or going to be the one to initiate these rallies. So increasing by 5% is really massive because you don't really get that buff unless you have the shrine buffs. Now, this damage dealt to barbarians and other neutral units by 10% is going to be really helpful. It's going to be hand in hand with this dealt by rallied armies by 5%. Now, if you attack a barbarian fort, you have that 5%, and then having that barbarian and other neutral units is going to be increasing by 10%. Now that will be equal to 15%. Now that is a massive buff. Increasing the cavalry attack by 5%. This is going to be really specific if you are building a full cavalry unit. The Arabia does have a cavalry special unit, so this may be a good option for you if you're really building into the full cavalry unit and you want to be the person that is the rally person on your alliance. Now, this again, it could be a really good pay to win account or pay to win nation, because a lot of the pay to win players are going to be the ones really that is going to be setting up the rallies for your alliance. Now, this is a good Civ change if you have already been playing the game and you are in the later stages of the game. Now, the pay to win aspect that I said earlier is maybe going to be negated if you're in the later stage of the game, because you were probably catching up with the pay to win players. So by that time, it doesn't matter. This is a really good civilization to really switch into. The next civilization that we're going to be talking about is Korea. Starting commander Ilji Mondeok, special unit Horang. Now, Korea has a similar buff with the Byzantium. As you guys can see, hospital capacity increased by 15%. Really good in the later stages of the game when you have a lot of units that you don't want to die when they fill up the hospital capacity. So this is something that you may consider in the later stages of the game. And also, research speed by 3% is quite beneficial. In the later stages of the game, you're going to be researching T4 units, which is really strong units in the by the later stage, and you're also going to be researching T5 units. Now, these amount of time to research them, it takes forever. So this may be a good civilization to switch on during that period of time. So increasing the archer defense by 5%, I don't really find that very useful. It really depends on your playing style by this buff. So I would let you guys decide on that one. Leave a comment in the comment section below what you guys think about that. Now, again, I said this civilization could really be beneficial for you in the later stages of the game. So do choose wisely, and you can always do a Civ change. If you have a scroll for free, you can do a Civ change, or you can buy that 10,000 gems to switch. So we have Japan here. Starting commander is Kosunoki Masashige. We have a special unit called Samurai. Really, the thing that stands out here for the buff is the scout marching speed up to 30%. It's going to increase it. Now, this is really beneficial because it's going to help you when you are trying to do a jumper account, when you want to try to unfog everything in the kingdom early stages in the game. But in the late stage of the game, you can just if you're patient enough and you want to wait for the scout, it's it's pretty much it depends on your playing style, right? But the scout marching speed really gonna benefit you in the early stage of the game when you're trying to unfog the kingdom. Also, there is a monument for that. When you unfog the whole kingdom, you're gonna get some rewards on your monument. So make sure to check that out if you are interested in getting that rewards. Now, resource gathering speed increased by 5%. This is nice because it's going to increase your gathering speed for every single thing, not just one specific specific type of resources. Increased troop attack by 3%. I like this because it's going to increase not just one specific type of unit. So yeah, do check this out. Japan is a really good one. I currently still use Japan, and I have not done a Civ change, but I probably will, and check out the new civilizations. The next civilization we're going to be talking about is China, or Zhongguo. Starting commander is Sun Chu. Special unit is Chu Konu. This civilization is really good, especially for beginners. Building speed increases by 5%, really good in the early stages of the game, and especially in the late stage of the game also. Action point recovery by 5% allows you to farm barbarians, and allows you to farm barbarian forts. Now, what this does is it's just going to be increasing the recovery time, which is going to be beneficial because you can have more action points in that way. That really helps you to farm and grind the barbarians so that you can get all those rewards that you would get by eliminating them. Really good for some of the barbarian events, barbarian fort events. So this is something that you may consider if you are really a grinder and you want to put a lot of time into this game. So troop defense increased by 3%. This is again a really good buff. This is something that you may want to consider if you want to be more of a defender in your city, so or be the defender for your garrison, or defending alliance fortresses or alliance flags. So this is something that you may want to be considering depending on your playing style. So do consider all these things. I do like the combinations of the buff here. It's really very diverse, and they're just not diverse to where they don't connect, but these all connect really to your growth and success. Now we have Spain, and the starting commander here is Pelagius. The special unit is Conquistador. The buff that they have here is resource reduction by 20%. I don't think this is a really benefit for you if you are starting off the game, because when you're starting off the game, you really want to focus on building and rushing into your city hall and getting T3 or getting into T4 units right away. So upgrading your buildings here in the bare minimum is what you really want in the earlier stage. Now, once you've reached the later stages of the game, you want to develop all those resource buildings that you have, and now you can maximize this resource production by 20%. So I don't think this is a good buff for beginners. I do want to highlight the experience gained from barbarians and other neutral units. Now, in the early stages of the game, leveling up your commander is quite easy, and once you go into the a little bit later stages of the game, when you have your commander a little bit higher, maybe about 40 or 50, you know, leveling up your commander can be a little bit more challenging, and having this experience gained by 10% is really beneficial. Now, if you can go and farm the Sanctum Guardians at this stage with this buff, that's how you can really maximize your buff here by 10%. Now, this is depending on your grinding capability. If you really grind a lot and you buy those action points in the shop, you can kind of negate this, or you can just buy some of those. If you're a spender, this might not be the best buff for you, because you can just buy Living Legends and buy the Books of Knowledge, and pretty much negate this buff. So it really depends on your playing style. Really, I think it's going to be beneficial slightly in the later stages of the game, having that experience points. Or if you really want to level up your commander right away, this may be a good buff for you. Increase cavalry defense by 5%. Again, this is depend on your playing style. If you're really building into the full cavalry unit, then this is a good benefit for you. Or if you're having a lot of cavalry in your troop or battalion, this would be the best option for you. Now we have Franz, starting commander, Joan of Arc, special unit, throwing axeman. The buff here is going to be healing, hospital healing speed by 20%. This is going to be really good in the later stage of the game when you're trying to heal a lot of units. If you want to really be focusing on that healing speed, maybe this buff now would be very beneficial through Alliance Battlegrounds, because you want to be healing your units there a lot faster. So this may be a good civilization going into Alliance Battlegrounds. Wood gathering speed by 10%. This is something that I don't really care. It really depends on your grinding capability. If you grind a lot, this can be negated. Increased troop health by 3%. This is good. Having that health of all the troops that is going to be increasing by 3% is quite beneficial for you in the battlefield. So do consider this. I think this buff is really good, and especially that healing speed. This is going to be beneficial when you get into Alliance Battlegrounds. Now we have Britain here, and the starting commander is Boudica. Special unit is Longbowman. The buff that they have is the ally garrison capacity increasing by 20%. What this does is it allows you to house more allies to get into your city, which in terms that they can defend your city on any incoming attacks. Now this is good because you can really inflict a lot of damage to the attacker if you have a full garrison capacity, having that 20% if your allies are there and helping you defend. Now if you don't have a good alliance, or if you're soloing in the game, which I don't recommend, this buff is not going to be beneficial for you. So another way that you can really negate this, if you have a really good allies and they can just defend or camp around you, preventing any attacks to incoming, so this can be negated. So it really depends on you what your choice is here. If you're really getting attacked a lot and your allies are really trying to help you and defend you, this may be a good garrison, this may be a good buff for you. Troop training speed by 5%, really good, especially if you are in the later stage of the game. You're trying to train a lot of these T4 or T5 units. This is something that is going to be helping you to establish more units in your garrison or in your city. So this is something that you may have to choose depending on your playing style. Increase archer attack by 5%. I don't find that useful. I find more useful to the buff that increases universal units. So this is something that you guys have to decide on if you are going to be building a full archer units, which I don't really see a lot in this game yet, but could be something that is different that you guys can implement. Now we have Germany. Starting commander is Hermann. Special unit is a Teutonic Knight. The buff here, action point recovery by 10%. Similar to China, as you guys have seen with China, the action point recovery is only 5%. I want to highlight that. Germany have 10%. So this is going to be a better option for you if you are trying to grind into the attacking barbarians and barbarian forts, or any other event that involves action points. Now this is a grinding choice. If you decide to be a grinder, this may be a good buff for you, or a good civilization. Now, troop training speed by 5%, similar to Britain. 5% is the number there, as you guys can see, 5%. Now, that's going to be, beneficial for you in the later stages of the game. Again, similar wording, similar stuff that I said in the Britain would apply to Germany. Increased cavalry attack by 5%. Again, I mentioned that I'm not really, in my opinion, I don't really care much about the specific type of units that are going to be giving me buff, which I care more of the more of a universal buff for the units. But if you are building a full cavalry units, this is going to be beneficial for you, because increasing the cavalry attack, which is in terms of going to be benefiting your full specialized units. So do consider that, there's a lot of playing style here. My playing style right now is kind of a mixed troops, especially being a free-to-play or a baby whale player. Now, if you're a whale player, or you spend a lot in this game, and a lot of times the pay-to-win players are going to be building into the full cavalry units because they can buy Minamoto right away, and they can really hone in into training a lot of the cavalry and really just focus on one unit. So that's something that you may want to consider if you're a pay-to-win player, finding these cavalry buffs to benefit your playing style. So the last civilization we have here is Rome. Starting commander is Scipio Africanus. Special unit is a legionnaire. Now, with the troop marching speed increased by 5%, this is going to be beneficial for those players that really want to move around the map really fast. Now, a lot of the pay-to-win player would also choose the civilization because, again, they can buy Minamoto easily, and that, building a full cavalry unit is going to be beneficial for them, and so that they can move around the map so much faster, and then they can defeat the enemies a lot quicker that way. Food gathering speed by 10%. This is, again, I don't really find them really that much useful for me. I think you can just negate this through a process of grinding, and you're going to have a lot of these good commander sets going to have some really decent gathering speed for food. So another one is increasing the defense for the infantry unit by 5%. Depends, again, on how your playing style. If you're building into the full cavalry units, you can just negate this, but you're going to be benefiting on the troop marching speed by 5%. But if you're building into a full infantry unit, this may be a good civilization for you because it's going to increase the defense for your infantry. But again, I really prefer more of a universal buff because a lot of players are actually going to be building more of a mixed troops than a specialized troops. So that's something that you guys need to consider. It depends on your playing style. The top 3 civilization that I think is the best is number 1 is Arabia. The reason why I think is that it's very unique. Having that damage dealt by rallied armies by 5% is really going to be beneficial if you are a grinder and you're trying to do a barbarian fort event, and also is going to increase your damage dealt to barbarians and other neutral units. And also, if you are a rally person, this is going to be benefiting you to attack enemy cities, enemy flags, and enemy fortresses. So the number 2 that I think is the best is Ottoman. Now, if you've already invested on the nuclear commanders, this is going to be really benefit for you having that extra skill damage by 5%. Again, this buff is quite unique. That's why I like it. Also, having that troop marching speed by 5% is really beneficial. Now, there are some players that have already invested on, let's say, Minamoto. Usually, if you're trying to build him as a full cavalry unit, and he is also a skill commander, this is going to be very beneficial for you because you're having that troop marching speed by 5% and also having that skill damage by 5%. The third one that I really think is a good option to get into is France because of its hospital healing speed up by 20%. This is going to be beneficial for you when you get into Alliance Battlegrounds. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you guys find this very helpful. It's a little bit longer than I expected, so I do apologize for that. But if you find this very helpful and you like this video, please give this video a thumbs up. Now, if you guys are going to do a Civ Change, please let me know in the comment section below. And if you are new to the game and you're starting out, let me know what type of civilization you are starting out and why you are changing or why you are choosing this civilization. If you're doing a Civ Change, please let me know why you're switching into this civilization. Guys, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you again for watching this video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It really helps this video. Bye.